Brian Samuel, welcome to Profile.
Thank you.
So you're living in Grenada now, and this is part of, perhaps I would say, the last part of your journey that has taken you through 10 countries in a career that has spanned many things. Right now on the show, you're an author, but you've been an economist, a shipper, a sailor, a farmer. One word to describe this sort of very mosaic or, mixed journey that you've had.
I think peripatetic is the word. I've just been never stopped moving. I'm the original nomad. I mean, I've moved country. The last move to go back to Grenada from Barbados when I retired again. I think that was the 23rd time I've moved country.
23 times?
In 69 years.
Why have you been moving so often?
I don't know. It just seemed like the thing to do. I got it from my father. My father was the quintessential nomad. I mean, he went to England during the war. The Second World War. And he went from Grenada, where he was born, small country boy. At age 19, at the depths of the war, he picked himself up and went on a British ship, dodged torpedoes all the way from Grenada to Jamaica to New York and then to England, and arrived in England in the middle of the Blitz. So he obviously needed to get out of Grenada because, if you're 19 years old, there's nowhere to go, so typically you leave. So he stayed in England during the war and got married to a Scottish nurse, my mother, called Helen Darville. And they had two children. They had one child in England, and in 1950, he moved back to Grenada. Mm-hmm. That's where myself and my brother were born. And my brothers are really actually legally called Tom and Jerry.
Yes, I started laughing because I actually know that. Tom and Jerry, for folks who might be too young to know, is the cartoon characters, the mouse as well as the cat.
They were named after them too.
They were named after the
Well, Jerry was born first in 1950, and 11 months later, I won't go into that, but 11 months later, Tom was born. So Tom was born in Grenada. And they was born at home. Nobody went to hospitals to have children in those days. So they had the children at home. And the next day, they went to the movies.
But your journey moved very quickly from Grenada.
Yeah. I mean, I was born in Grenada, and the next year we moved to Grenada to Guyana, where my father was working. He was a teacher. Mm-hmm. And then we moved from Guyana to Trinidad for about 3 or 4 years, and then to Grenada, then England, then America, then back to England, then here to Jamaica when I was 18.
Before you get to the 18 point, though, major turning point first in Trinidad, because that's where your mother disappeared.
Yes. I mean, I remember that day. I mean, I was just almost 7 when she disappeared, and I remember so many things in Trinidad before that. I remember playing with my neighborhood kids. I remember going to the sea. I remember our dog Simba getting run over by a car. I remember seeing at the side of the road a dead anaconda that some villagers had killed, and this anaconda stretched 3 car lengths. I remember my father. I remember Christmas. I remember everything, but I don't remember my mother. And I think that was a defense mechanism. And my brothers, Tom and Jerry, they're the same. We all remember things that happened, but our mother is never in the picture, because of what happened. I mean, she used to work on the radio. She was a radio celebrity, as we would say. And she had a radio show, and we'd go and pick her up. And every day, our father would pick us up from school, go to the radio station, bap, 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 and she'd come down. That day, she didn't come.
And the explanation was?
No explanation. Kids are on a need-to-know basis. We drove home, and where's mommy, dad? We don't know. Where's mommy? Next day, where's mommy? We don't know. Mommy's gone away. And that's the last we saw of her.
What kind of impact did that have on your father?
He was devastated. I mean, he had no idea that this was coming. And it's not like they were having fights. Kids see these things. We didn't have warring parents. We just had, thing. And he literally had no clue where she'd gone. He wrote to her radio station, Radio Guardian. They told him she'd gone to Nassau with a man, and that's all he knew and we knew. And that was it. She's gone. Didn't see her again.
By age 7, that journey that you outlined earlier would take you to England.
Yeah. So our father, I mean, we had a great life in Trinidad. He had a very good job with T&Tech, with the electricity generator, equivalent to JPS. And, he drove an MG Magnet, which is a nice car, and we had a good middle-class life. When his wife left him, I think his world kind of imploded, and I think he decided that he needed to leave Trinidad because there were just too many ghosts. So he went to England. He took ship to England, sent us to Grenada for about 6 months, which was heaven. And then we all went to England, which was hell.
Why was it hell?
I mean, I was a 7-year-old kid, very happy kid coming from Grenada and Trinidad. You get to England, you're a wog and you're a nignog. You're a chocolate face. The first thing they called me in school, hey, chocolate face.
These are derogatory terms for black people at the time.
Yes. So, of course, that ended up having a lot of fights, and I didn't like it at all. It took a long, long time for me to get settled in England. I really didn't like it, and I missed home. I didn't miss my mother because I didn't know much about my mother, but we all missed.
Then you moved to Chicago, as I understand it.
Yes, we all moved to Chicago. Again, the nomadic streak again. So we'd been in England for 6 years, 5-6 years. And my father applied to it'll come to me in a minute. Mm-hmm. He applied to a foundation that had exchange teachers.
Yes.
Right? So he was part of a group of about 20, 30 English teachers. Teachers from England who went to America. And we landed in America in August, September 66, just after segregation had stopped. Very tense times. The war in Vietnam was coming up. Black Power was beginning to happen.
A lot of change all at once.
A lot of things were happening. And, we shook hands with President Lyndon Johnson in the White House because we had a reception at the White House, and he came shuffling down the line, welcome to America. I'm like, whoa. So it was certainly enlightening.
At what point did you go back to Jamaica? Because you said Jamaica now is what made you.
Yes, Jamaica made me what I am. We went back, we stayed in America for a year, 66 to 67, which was a hugely interesting year. My father witnessed race riots in Chicago, Cicero race riots. And because we'd gone to England and the advanced billing, because we'd gone to this small town called LaGrange outside of Chicago, nothing happens in LaGrange. It's a one-horse town. But the English teacher is coming. So everybody expecting an English teacher.
So is that white person?
That's a white person, right? Now, this is 1966 in a white town called LaGrange.
Yes.
And people would call him on the phone, hello, Mr. Samuel. And my father had a bit of an English voice, Yes, we'll be there at 6 o'clock, at 7 o'clock. We knock on the door, and Dad would turn to us and say, watch. And then, hello, Mr. Samuel. Literally, you could see their face going, where's Mr. Samuel?
I want to talk a little bit about, have you compared that to that sort of experience out of London, which was also at that time a very racist society. But we have to get to that after the break.
Okay.
My guest is economist and author Brian Samuel. Profile returns right after these messages.